everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Saturday, August 24th, 2024. And if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday in Major League Baseball. First up, we see the Colorado Rockies taking on the New York Yankees. No official starter for New York, but Bradley Blaylock should be going for Colorado. And he's actually pitched pretty well with his new team here in his first two starts at the big league level. He went 5 2/3 of three-run ball against the Diamondbacks, just 1 out shy of a quality start. And then against the Padres at Coors Field, his Coors Field debut, 5 2/3 of 1-run ball in a 3-2 Rockies win. So he's been impressive so far, but the strikeout numbers aren't the best so far. The walks, he had 3 of them in that last game against San Diego. I still think at Yankee Stadium for a young pitcher, inexperienced pitcher, I think it's a bad spot for him, especially I don't think his bats are going to back him up too much and that bullpen to go with it. So I still got to go with the Yankees in this game on the run line at home, but not my favorite game on the board. Next up, another afternoon game between the Angels and the Blue Jays. We got Carson Fulmer and Bowden Francis as the projected starters. And Bowden Francis has been pretty sharp on the mound recently. His last 5 games, 3 earned runs or fewer in all 5. The Blue Jays have a winning record of 3-2 in those 5 games, and that includes a win over a tough team in the Orioles, 8-4. I think Francis puts together another strong outing. In his last 2 games, 14 innings, 15 strikeouts, no walks, and only 1 earned run. And one of those games was against these Angels. He went 7 innings of 1-run ball in that game, a 4-2 Blue Jays win. So it's tough to go against that, and the Angels have not been great against right-handed pitching in the last 30 days or pretty much overall this season. You look at Carson Fulmer on the other side. He also faced the Blue Jays a couple of weeks ago, and he gave up 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, and only 3 innings of work in a 6-1 Blue Jays win. I've mentioned while the Blue Jays have not been a great team this year, I'd say at least recently their offense has shown a pulse. They've been a little bit better than what we saw at the beginning of the year. So I think to get to Fulmer, I think Francis puts together a strong outing. Give me Toronto in this one on the money line and the run line. Next up, we go to Baltimore as the Astros take on the Orioles. We have Framber Valdez and Albert Suarez as the starters. We've mentioned that Suarez has been in great form right now. I mean, his last couple of games, no earned runs given up. He, especially at Camden Yards, a sub-3 ERA at 2.36. But you have Framber Valdez on the other side. It's really tough to go against Framber, in my opinion. The Astros have won his last 10 starts and 12 of his last 14 as well. And in that stretch, I mean, back on June 18th, after his loss against the White Sox, Framber had a 5-5 record. Now he's got a 13-5 record, which, win-loss record doesn't matter at all for pitchers, but it goes to show you he's getting these decisions done. He's been able to keep, he's really been a big reason why the Astros are now in first place by a pretty good margin in that AL West. So it's tough to go against Framber Valdez. He faced these Orioles back on June 23rd. He was 7 innings of 1-run ball, 7 strikeouts, and an 8-1 Astros blowout. The Orioles are a tough lineup. They've hit lefties very well, overall this season and in the last month. But Framber's already had success against them. Suarez, the Orioles are just 1-3 in his last 4 games. And in his game against the Astros, it was the same game actually against Framber Valdez. He gave up 5 earned runs, 10 base hits to the Astros, and of course that was the blowout W. So I gotta roll with the Astros in this game on the money line on the road. Next up, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Oakland Athletics. Colin Ray and Joe Boyle are your starters. I like the under in this game. Colin Ray had that one bad outing against the Dodgers back on August 13th, but outside of that one game, and you look at his last 5 starts, really strong outings. He's gone 7+ innings of shutout ball against the Guardians and the Braves. His strikeout numbers have been improving. His control's been better. I think he pitches well against an A's team. It's not been the best against righties in the last month. Joe Boyle put together a strong bounce-back start in his last game against Tampa Bay. 6 innings of 6 strikeouts, shutout baseball. He's got good strikeout stuff. He's got great velocity on his fastball. The one issue's been the control. The walks have piled up for him, and the Brewers do have a pretty steep walk rate, so that could be a problem, but I still think Boyle has a lot of upside to his game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I like the A's to win this one as well. So give me the under and the A's on the money line. Next up, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Zach Gallen and Cutter Crawford are your starters. I think we see the opposite in this game. I like the over. Zach Gallen, we've mentioned, since returning from injury, just not his dominant self. We saw that last game against the Tampa Bay Rays. At Tropicana Field looked to be a good matchup for him. He still got, hit pretty hard. 4 earned runs, 9 base hits, a couple of walks, only 3 strikeouts in 5 innings. Ended up being a Rays win 6-1. And I think that the Red Sox, a great lineup against right-handed pitching at a very hitter-friendly ballpark like Fenway could certainly get to Gallen for a few runs early. Cutter Crawford on the flip side, we know he's been struggling with the sharp contact. He's been giving up a lot of home runs overall this season, but in the last 5 games especially. And, at Fenway Park against the Diamondbacks team, it's near the top of the league in OPS, isolated power, WRC+, you name it, against right-handed pitching. I think Crawford struggles, so I'm going to go with the over in Arizona-Boston. Next up, the Chicago Cubs taking on the Miami Marlins. Shota Imanaga and Valente Bellozo are your starters. I think the value lies with the fish in this game. I mean, Bellozo's been in great form. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain this kind of success. I mean, he only has 27 Ks through 33 innings of work, but he's keeping the ball on the ground. He's not giving up too many walks, and his ERA is at 2.45 through his first 33 innings. He's faced some tough lineups. I mean, recently the Mets, the Phillies, both of those games on the road, the Cincinnati Reds, the Braves, the Red Sox. He struggled in that Red Sox game, but, I mean, he's pitching well overall. Imanaga also, having a great season, but the Marlins have been improving slightly against left-handed pitching. We saw them get to Jordan Montgomery in that Diamondbacks series, so I think that they can get to Imanaga for a few runs. I think the value lies with the fish. Give me the Marlins on the money line. Next up, the San Francisco Giants and the Seattle Mariners. Blake Snell and George Kirby are your projected starters. For me, I just don't know where the runs are going to come by in this game. I mean, the Mariners have struck out so much this season, and you're facing a strikeout-dependent guy, one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball, in Blake Snell, who's had double-digit strikeouts in his last 2 games and 4 of his last 5. I think Snell puts together another strong outing, and George Kirby, a lot of his games recently have been on the road where he's just not been as strong as he's been at T-Mobile Park with a sub-3 ERA. Your return home here, I think, especially after that bounce-back start against the Pittsburgh Pirates, he went 6 innings, a 2-run ball, a quality start there. The Giants lineup's not been special against right-handed pitching. I think we see a low-scoring game here. It's already a low total, so not a ton of value, but I still like the under in Giants-Mariners. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. No official starter for Cincinnati, but we should see Jake Woodford going for the Pirates. I'm going to lean towards the Reds right now. I don't really love Woodford in the starting pitching role. He hasn't been a very profitable option, and we saw in that last game 5 earned runs, 9 base hits against the Seattle Mariners of all teams. We know that they've been one of the worst lineups in the American League in the last few months, so for Woodford to struggle in that game, not a great sign. The Pirates have lost his last 5 appearances, whether they were starts or out of the bullpen. The Reds have been a decent lineup against right-handed pitching. I got to go with the Cincinnati Reds and a lean right now on the money line. Next up, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Chicago White Sox. Kai Busch and Tarek Skubal are your projected starters. Kai Busch is in good form. I mean, his last 2 games were against the Astros and the Yankees. He went 10 2/3 combined of 3-run ball, but his control's been off. I mean, he's got 15 walks and 14 2/3. That's definitely a concern for me. But also Tarek Skubal's on the other side. I mean, he's the AL Cy Young favorite for a reason. He's been excellent this season. 14-4 record for a team with a losing record. That's really impressive. 2.49 ERA. He's been better at Comerica Park, but still a sub-3 ERA on the road. I think he could put together 6, 7, maybe 8 really strong innings, and the Tigers will do enough against Busch to win this game and cover the run line. So give me Detroit in this one, laying the 1.5 runs. Next are the Philadelphia Phillies and the Kansas City Royals from Kauffman Stadium. No official starter for Philadelphia, but Brady Singer should be going for KC. And the Phillies have just not been great, or at least not consistent, against right-handed pitching offensively in the last month. And while Brady Singer hasn't had his best second half of the year, he did bounce back in a big way in that last game at Great American Ballpark. We know Singer's not been the best on the road in his career. So for him to go on the road at the second most hitter-friendly ballpark like Great American and put together a 6-inning shutout with 6 strikeouts, pretty impressive there. And I think now at Kauffman, where he's been a lot better, he can put together a strong outing against that Phillies, struggling lineup. We'll see who the Phillies go with on the mound, but that bullpen in the last month, not a great ERA, not the best expected numbers. Give me the Royals in this game on the money line at Kauffman Stadium. Next up, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Minnesota Twins. Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez are your starters, so great pitching matchup in this one. Pablo Lopez had those early season struggles, and that's why his ERA is still at 4.47 on the year. But in his last 5 games, he's been a lot better. I mean, 2 earned runs or fewer in 4 of those 5. He's still giving up some sharp contact, and the strikeout numbers haven't been the best recently. I still think he's the much better option in this game. When you look at Sonny Gray's numbers on the road, he's got an ERA of 5.43 away from Busch Stadium. His last road game was at Great American. He gave up 6 earned runs, 5 innings of work against the Reds, and a 6-1 loss. The Cardinals are 1-4 in his last 5 games. Their bullpen's not been the best. Their offense, of course, has not been great this season or in the last month. I got to give the edge to the Twins in this game on the money line and the run line. Next up, the Texas Rangers taking on the Cleveland Guardians. John Gray and Ben Lively are your starters. And this is an interesting game here because we're not really sure what we're going to see from John Gray. He's battled injuries throughout the season, and in August, he's only had one outing. It was an appearance out of the bullpen. It was 2 innings of 1-run ball against the Pirates with 2 strikeouts. So, we're not sure we're going to see from Gray, but Ben Lively, we know he's given up a lot of sharp contact recently. And we go back to the beginning of the season, he faced this Rangers lineup and gave up 3 home runs in that game in 5 innings of work, 3 walks to go with it. So I actually think the Rangers can get to him for a few runs. And as long as Gray doesn't blow up on the mound in the first few innings, I think the Rangers have a really good chance at least leading through the first 5. I could see them winning the full game as well, but I'm just going to go with the Rangers in the first 5 on the money line. Next up, we see the Washington Nationals and the Atlanta Braves. We got Jake Irvin and Charlie Morton as the projected starters. When you look at both of these starting pitchers against the opposition this year, they are polar opposites. Charlie Morton in 10 2/3 against Washington. He has really struggled. 19 base hits, 13 total runs. 12 of those were earned, so a 10.13 ERA and an 0-2 record. On the flip side, Jake Irvin in 12 innings against the Atlanta Braves, 6 hits, no earned runs, 14 strikeouts, a 150 opponent's batting average, and a 0.00 ERA with a 1-0 record. I got to go with the Nationals in this game at an excellent price on the money line and plus the 1.5 runs on the run line. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the San Diego Padres. David Peterson and Michael King are your starters. Now, when you look, David Peterson's somebody that I've faded quite a bit recently. He's been able to prove me wrong. He's been a great profitable option for the Mets this year on paper, and they've won his last 3 starts. But Michael King on the other side has been excellent also. He's been a very profitable option himself. They've won his last 5 games. In 14 of his last 15 starts, Michael King has given up 3 earned runs or fewer. That means keeping your team in ball games, giving them a great chance to win those games. And San Diego against left-handed pitching in the last month, great OPS, solid isolated power, and a very low strikeout rate. I think that's going to prove a problem for Peterson in this game. That was pretty tough alliteration there, prove a problem for Peterson. But I'm going to go with the Padres in this one on the money line and the run line. Next up, the Rays and the Dodgers. Taj Bradley and Clayton Kershaw are your starters. The final game for Friday's card. This is a game where I would be much more willing to back Tampa Bay, about a month ago, I would say, with the Rays hitting lefties as well as they were in July, with Bradley pitching as well as he was in that month and before. But now the Rays have not been great against lefties. They're striking out left and right. They have bad OPS and isolated power numbers. Bradley's not been great. The Rays have lost his last 4 starts. He's given up a lot of sharp contact. The strikeout numbers have been inconsistent. The walks are starting to pile up. I got to roll with the Dodgers in this game. Kershaw, he had a rough start in his first couple of games, but he's been great ever since. His last 3 starts, 1 earned run or fewer in all 3 of those games. He started to pitch deeper into ball games. We saw him go 6 innings in that last one against St. Louis. I got to roll the Dodgers in this game on the money line and run line. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Put those baseball picks in the comments section below. And again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.